What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we're going to jump back into the action with Kaspa. All right, I thought all of the action was done yesterday, but apparently we are still on a tear. Now, before I begin, please understand that none of this is financial advice. Take it as a grain of salt. This is for entertainment purposes only. Now, since yesterday, it looks like we have continued on this romp and we formed one tremendous green candle on the one-day chart. I'm starting on the one-day chart. Now, if we look at the stochastic, we do notice that we did get a clear crossover. Back on the 4-hour chart, as I was showing yesterday, the stochastic was headed down while the price was still moving up. That was a divergence. But here on the one-day chart, this crossover coincides with what appears to be a reversal or a possible pivot point. And then we were discussing, well, what happens from here? I am going to talk about what the possibilities are based on this chart and then run through and answer all the comments. I haven't done any videos where I talk live about the comments from you, the awesome viewers, but we're going to do that today. So first, looking at this chart, it does look like the MACD oscillators are starting to catch up. We still have a clear bullish divergence here and strong dark green candles, but this may start to curl over and we might get a crossover or just a touch. Notice how we just had a touch here and a touch there where we had a bearish cross here. So the bullish continuation might cause us to just touch down and glance off of this slow oscillator and then start to move up again. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Now, someone in the comments had asked about fibs and price projections. My general opinion about price projections is to stay away from them and don't ever take them seriously, because 9 times out of 10, people are wrong. When you have prior price history and volume nodes, you can kind of make short-term price projections. That's kind of safe, and we were able to do that up until this point. However, now that we have reached the top of this cluster on the VPVR, volume profile visible range, that shows the amount of trading that happens at a particular price instead of at a particular time, like this big candle here showing how much was bought at this one-day slice of time. The VPVR says how much was bought at these price points. That's where we get the clues as to where can price go next. Now, here's the reason why it's very dangerous to do price projections in this situation. It's because we are in price discovery. And what that means is we don't have any prior price history outside of this range. Here is our all-time high. And then running all the way back to the data that I had to plot on the screen before we start getting the price action printed on the trading view chart. This represents everything that has happened up until this point. And then you have all this bouncing around, and that produces the volume nodes. And so those nodes are created when we add up the amount that was bought at every price. Let's give you an example. Let's circle everything that was bought at 0.007. So here's 0.007 here. And this volume node is comprised of every purchase in history that happened in that range. Let's clear this and make another one. Here we'll draw the node here, and that is at the point of control price, which is another way of saying the most volume happened at this price. And then we can look at it and we can see, okay, here's where you take the purchases that happen right here during this time that it was going up, and then it came back down. Here's a little bit more at that price point. Here's a little more. And then we have all of this action here. We have a little bit here, this spot, and that's it. So then when you take all those points this group, and then you report the volume that happened at that price point. Take all these over to the right, you create a candle, okay? And so the sum total of all the buying and selling that happened at that particular price gives you the bar that happens right there. Do you understand that? So to compare that, let's say we looked at the 0.027. Let's just make our little circle, and then we can come back and say, well, we had a little buying and selling here. We had some here, and that's it. And then you take this amount, add it to that amount, and report it over here to the right, and it brings us to this candle, which is this big, or bar. We'll call that a bar. So that's why your bar up here is bigger than your bar down here, because we had more instances where people were buying at that price. Now, I say people, but in all actuality, the majority of that selling is bots, the computers, algorithms, which have a set of instructions that say, if certain action happens under certain conditions, buy. Or if other actions happen under certain conditions, sell. And it happens without anyone getting on the keyboard to type in a sell order or a buy order. When we know that these bots, these automated trading systems, have gone heavy in this area, it is highly likely that there will be a trigger, if we ever return to that, where there will be heavy buying again. And that's why price tends to snap to the volume nodes, okay? So right now we're in price discovery, so we don't know how high this is going to go. All we know is that we can snap down here to this previous support resistance range. Here's our box right here that I talked about in the last video, and that coincides right above this volume node here. So this could be a support, and it could pop on up. And the only guess I could make is that maybe we get to the 1.618 line on the on this set of Fibonacci golden retraces. Well, the golden retrace is the 0.618, and that happens at this node right here. So if we fail this box, chances are we go back down to the golden retrace, which is the 0.618 right there, and then we'll consolidate. Maybe it bounces up again from there. That's how you determine the possibilities, okay? Does that make any sense? Hopefully that answers your question, and we can probably look for this action to possibly do this and stay up here if it stays bullish, because we are close to getting listed on a new exchange, which that is the reason someone had commented why we are seeing all this action, because they're investing on getting listed into some top 10 exchanges. That will draw in more buyers. Okay, so let's jump over to the comments, and then we'll be all wrapped up. Okay, I'll put myself up here in this corner. Juan Carlos said, keep up the good work. You are very good at what you do. And thank you, Juan. I really appreciate that. And as I said in my response, it's comments like that that make me do the work to keep this channel going. I mean, that's just awesome feedback. So I appreciate that. And I'm glad that my content is valuable to you and that it makes sense. So someone with some non-English characters here says, keep up, or Kaspa is the future. Love the content. I certainly appreciate that. The Rust rewrite is almost complete. That's huge. And there's crowdfunding for a new listing on a top 10 exchange. Thanks for the TA. That's awesome. And that's why we're seeing this action. So I had forgotten about the Rust rewrite. So that could be that we could shoot on up and find a new base level of support once the Rust rewrite has completed, and then coinciding with listing on new exchanges, that could provide a real solid base for us to continue moving up. Kaspa is raising $100,000 to list on a top 10 exchange. So where did you find that out from, Daniel? I'd like to know. I know that it's been said that they only go for the free listings based on the credibility of the project, but I know that if it's worth it, you know, to pay to get more activity, that's a possibility. But who would raise that money? I guess is it the project team, but let me know more about that if you know. Thanks for that comment. Chewy says he bought in at 0.0013 and sold at 0.0044. I was doing the same thing, and we were talking about that in the Crypto Pro Telegram group. And I had made a nice double, triple, sold off, and then it started moving up, and I got scared, and I bought it all back. And then I waited for another dip, and then I took my balance back up to 100,000. So I paid up a little bit more than what I would have had I not just sat on my original pile that I got at the same level that was down there where Chewy had bought in. Hopefully we get a dip, Chewy, and you can jump back in, man. Okay, so Horse had asked about the fibs and the price targets, and we talked about that. And Shakester says, let's freaking go. Yeah, oh yeah. Val, my man, says, Kaspa is going to the North Pole. I'm ready to put on my winter coat and go meet Santa Claus and sit up there and wait for Kaspa to reach the North Pole. I am here for the ride. Randall the Reptar, is that it? Says Kaspa is the future. Love the content. Thank you so much, my brother. I do appreciate that comment. Well, that's all I've got for now, and I will keep you updated, but I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And if you find this information valuable and you would like to help me defray the cost of producing these videos, you may do so with the use of a super thanks. And I thank you in advance. That's all I got for now. This is Carlton, and I am out.